years ago, we got involved in the after-school market, and with a guy out of Florida that was kind of started it, and there was a good start, and I've had a chance to kind of watch from the outside of how the after-school's grown as an industry. And a couple of years ago, Erica Martin, who's a friend of my friend Rick Martin, she calls me up and she said, well, we're going to start this consulting thing for after school, and I'm going to do it with this guy, Duane. And I'm like, that tattooed guy? That's the guy you're going to do? This is going to fail fast. I spent 45 minutes trying to talk her out of it, saying, I know, man, I'm a big shot. This is never going to work. And over the past couple of years, she helped build the company. Then she went in another direction. He brought his wife in. They just had a huge event in Tampa last week. And I watched what they've done for several people, my students and other people that have got in this industry and trusted their knowledge to these guys. And it's really life-changing stuff they've been able to do for people. It's really cool. And one thing that struck me is in our industry, there's several different ways to run a business. Tulay has his system of running things. Brandon has his. Duane has his. There's not, don't do this and do mine. There's several different ways. You have to figure out which one resonates with you. And for the people that resonate with Duane, man, they are blowing it up. The people that are resonating with Brandon, I mean, they're here. The guy's following him all the way from Germany. I mean, he's really changing lives. And these givers of our industry that are offering their education, it's amazing. Imagine if, I was thinking about this the other day, what if you said, I want to open up a hamburger stand, and you called up McDonald's and said, hey, I want to come in your corporate office and learn everything you do. And then you called Burger King, and I want to learn everything that you do. And you called Wendy, I want to learn, they slam the door, they laugh you out of the place. At this point in time in martial arts, we have the best of the best of the best of the best, and they're all willing to share for basically what amounts to peanuts. And what an awesome time to be in this business. We have more schools doing $1 million a year now than we never had any. So obviously there's more. It's growing every day. We're growing as professionals. We're growing as givers. And if we stay on this path, when I see these daycares spending $5 million to open a daycare, and then they pack their after-school kids in a back room and give them a Xbox or whatever it is, the things that we can do for them, and I've seen it, I kind of got in the business here, the life-changing stuff Sarah's done with some kids that I would tell her to get rid of these little monsters. And now they've grown up, they're teenagers, and they work for her. And we've changed the direction of these kids' lives. That's our business. And Duane operates from that standpoint with his people. And he's a workaholic, and he's a machine, and he's out there working for these guys, and it's working. So let's see what he's got to say. Come on up here, sir. Hey, sir. And I am going to get another tattoo this time.
Yeah. All right, guys, so you're probably looking at this picture behind me and you're thinking, okay, I see that guy Duane, but where's his better half? And literally 7 days ago, I was planning for a big 3-day event called MassCon. We're a little bit hot on this mic. If you can drop it just a tiny bit. So we're planning for this awesome 3-day event called MassCon. And my wife her energy was a little bit different. She was in a state where she was kind of a little bit down, looked a little concerned. And I'm like, on this whiteboard, and I'm drawing all of our plans to make sure that our event is perfect. And I'm like, babe, what's going on with you? What's up? And she reaches in her pocket and pulls out a pregnancy test. And she goes, I'm pregnant. And she had this look on her face like, I don't know what he's going to do. And I was like, hell yeah, that's awesome. That is fantastic. And I felt complete. So I have a 13-year-old daughter. We have a 12-year-old daughter. And now we have a baby on the way. So we're super pumped. But she couldn't be here because the doctor said if you get bit by a mosquito with Zika, then bad things are going to happen. So we had to leave her at home, and hopefully none of us get bit by that mosquito. So no worries. Okay. You guys remember that Karate Kid movie, the original one? Raise your hand, say yes if you've seen it before. Okay. So there's part of that movie where Daniel-san is wanting to learn karate, right? And Miyagi's like, all right, you got to wax my car, you got to paint the house, got to paint the fence or whatever, and he gets pissed. Daniel-san gets pissed. Remember that scene where he walks up and he's like, I'm tired of doing your chores, old man. What does Miyagi do? Throws a freaking punch. What does Daniel-san do? Outside middle block. Bam! And then he throws another punch. Outside middle block. And all of a sudden it clicks that he's been learning karate the whole time. So I want you guys to consider that that's what we're about to do right now. I'm going to introduce some really cool stuff to you really quickly. So while we're here, you're hearing me on stage, you're watching my slides that we're going to get into in just a second. And yeah, we're going to do some really cool marketing. But before we do that, my goal for us together right now is to clear any rate-limiting beliefs, anything that's held you back, so that you can move forward full speed. So if you're ready to move forward full speed and learn a couple little life hacks that are going to help you, can you say yes? Yes. All right, fantastic. So really quickly, please stand out of your seat. Now, you're probably witnessing yourself at this moment, one of two things. You're either like, yes, I get to stand up, or you're like, damn it, I have my laptop on my lap, I have my books, and that's that little voice that we're going to start talking about. So either your little voice was like, yeah, let's do it, or it's like, I want to hold you back. So here's what I want. While you're there, just put one foot in front, one foot in back. We're going to get into kind of a modified fighting stance if you're going to fight somebody in a theater. And what we're going to do at this point, every time that I count, I just want you to imagine that you're breaking a board. We've all broken boards, so let's do a palm strike, heel palm strike, whatever you're comfortable with, maybe a straight punch. All right, here we go. Ready? And by the way, we're in a museum, so let's be loud. Let's yell. Ready? 1! Yeah! Oh, that was horrible. So let's imagine that we're at like maybe a 25%. Let's bring it up to about a 75%. Ready? 2! And let's bring it up to a 100%. Let's try it this time. Ready? 3! Now, what I want you to do, whichever wrist that you favor, that you tend to wear your watch, I want you to grab your wrist aggressively like this. Okay, so we're going to talk about that in just a second why we did that. That's going to be called anchoring, all right? Have a seat, please. Okay, now here's the plan. Getting into a physical state is important for teaching martial arts. If you walk into your dojo and you're like, all right, boys and girls, let's do some karate today. We're going to learn the basic kata. What is their energy going to be? It's going to be low. It's going to be just like that, a mirror reflection, right? But if you walk in and you're like, what's up, boys and girls? How was school today? Raise your hand if you have something awesome that you want to share with the group. Who has something awesome that they want to share about Cozumel so far? Anyone want to raise their hand? Anybody? Let's go. Yes, sir. Diving. Let's give him a big round of applause. All right, give me one more person. Who else wants to share something that's been great about this event or this trip so far? Yes, ma'am. First drink. Wow. Let's give her a hand. Yes. Wasn't expecting that one, but as instructors, we learn to roll with it, right? So here's the plan. We want to get our class in state. Everybody say in state. Now here's the trick. There's two types of states. You have beautiful states like happiness, joy, creativity, awesomeness. And then you have states of suffering, which would be anxiety, fear, hesitation, doubt. Notice how I'm changing my tone as I talk about suffering states. So by show of hands, how many of you have ever felt anxious or you felt fear or scared? If you're not raising your hand, then you are sleeping through my presentation because we've all been there, right? So here's the trick, though. You can't be in a suffering state and a beautiful state of happiness, joy, and enthusiasm and awesomeness. You can't be in those at the same time. So where do you create your best ideas from? Beautiful state or suffering? Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. Where do you go to the next level in your life and business? Say it. Where do you go to the next level in your life and business? What state? Beautiful or suffering? Beautiful, right? Obviously. But here's the problem. So many hours throughout the day, or even sometimes on a minute-by-minute basis, what happens is those states of suffering like to creep in. We might be driving down the road, and all of a sudden a state of suffering happens when somebody cuts us off. We're like, somebody cuts us off. It ruins our day. Or perhaps you go to check your bank account, and it's not where you want it to be, so you feel frustrated. Or perhaps somebody wants to freeze their membership during the summer. How many of you have been there where you get those calls? Yeah, I think we're going to freeze our membership. You're like, no, you're not. So here's the problem. When we don't know that we're in a state of suffering and we still operate our business, we get horrible results, which creates more of a state of suffering. And I want you guys to think about this for a second. How many minutes throughout the day, or in some cases, how many hours throughout the day, do you actually experience frustration, fear, anxiety, uncertainty, being annoyed? Let's be honest. 30%. Yeah, so thank you, sir. The average that we're seeing when we survey and the studies that we've studied or researched shows that people experience about 3 to 4 hours a day of these suffering states. So how are you going to walk in and motivate your team with a smile on your face? How are you going to go and entertain your students if you're instructing? How are you going to be when you go home to your spouse and maybe they didn't have the best a day? So one of the things that I want you to take from this right now is to understand the difference between the beautiful state and the creative state. The beautiful state and the suffering state, right? Now, here's what I want you guys to think about. We're going to do a little bit of kind of partner activity. And some of you right now went, oh, partner activity. So if you don't like the person sitting next to you, then find someone new, okay? He's about to move. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about a moment in your life where you were a freaking champion. Something that happened to you that you accomplished, that you felt like a freaking rock star. Some of you, boom, you got it right away. Some of you haven't felt like a champion in a while, and that's okay. But I want you to take a moment and think back and share with the person next to you a moment that you crushed it. It could be a recent enrollment. It could be an accolade that you had in high school or college. Maybe you're the quarterback from 1982. You could throw a football a mile away. Whatever your accolade is, whatever you're pumped about, think about that for a second. Share it with the person next to you. A time that you crushed it. And it could be a simple one-sentence thing. When did you feel like an absolute champion? Now, one thing that I want you to notice as we're sharing this is if you start looking around at everybody's faces, you're noticing everybody's smiling right now. Look at this right now as you're sharing. Every single person in here is smiling right now because they're pumped up. And break. All right, high five your partner. Say, you are awesome. Okay, so what we're doing, my friends, we're doing some wax on, some wax off. Because what I wanted you to notice is that when you go down memory lane and you start to think about a time that you were crushing it, you actually start to feel better when? Right now. You start to feel better right now. So one of the things that you can do to get your team pumped up, to get your students pumped up, is get them to go back in time when they felt awesome. So how do you get out of a bad mood? I mean, let's think about it. Have you ever met someone that's like, oh, I've got all these problems? You ever meet those people? And you could see them a week later. You can see them a month later. And when you do see them coming, you're like, oh, gosh, because you know they're going to suck the energy out of you, right? And if you're not laughing right now, the person next to you might think that about you. So just be careful. But here's the thing. States can change this fast, okay? So first off, everybody sit up. How would you look like if you feel like a champion? Are your shoulders going to be slouched or are they going to be back? Is your chin going to be up or down? Are your eyes going to be open or are they going to be squinted? Are you going to have a scowl right here? So one of the fastest ways to increase performance is just by changing your physical state and then anchoring that thought of when you were a champion. Now, there's other things that you can anchor. You can anchor, when you had the most money in your life. You can anchor the birth of your child. There's all these memories that can come back. So when you're dealing with staff, if you guys are following what I'm actually doing, I'm teaching you how to teach your teams, right? You need to bring them to that point where they feel like a rock star. Now, I've got another question for you. There was a moment in your life where let's imagine this line. So we're on this line here. Here's the line. Prior to you stepping across this boundary or this moment, prior to that, you were not a school owner. So I want you to go back in time for a second. You were not a school owner. And then all of a sudden, something happened, a thought, an occurrence, a conversation, and then the moment later, you are a school owner. You said, yes, I can do this. You had the confidence to face your fears. You said, screw it, I'm doing it. I'm jumping in. I'm taking that leap of faith. What was that moment for you guys? Share that with the person next to you. What was that moment where you had that conversation with yourself? You go, I can actually do this, and I am going to do this. Not just talking about it, but where you were certain that it was time to become a business owner and open a school. Share that with the person next to you. What was that moment for you guys? When everybody else is afraid to pursue their dreams and afraid to pursue their passions, you said, I'm doing it. What was that moment for you? Okay, about 10 more seconds. All right, give your partner a high five. Say, you are awesome. Okay, I'm going to get somebody up here to share their moment, but you got to keep it under 30 seconds. Who's ready to rock? Who wants to come up to the stage, get some stage time? Yes, ma'am. Let's give her a big round of applause. And what is your name, ma'am? Everybody say, you are awesome, Andrea. Always, always, always acknowledge people that want to share in your team meetings, or if you're a consultant or coach or speaker, you want to acknowledge people on the stage. Come on up. The stage is a safe place, ma'am. All right, tell them your name, where you're from, what school you're with, and your decision.
My name is Andrea. I'm from Sun Prairie, Wisconsin with Mr. Reed's school. I think the big turning point for me is that we had a student who had special needs. He was going to occupational therapy. Mom brought him and his 3 other siblings to our school, was explaining how he had some anger issues because he was different. He was realizing, well, why do I have to go to these therapy sessions? Nobody else does. They took classes with us for about a month. They then cut occupational therapy completely out of this kid's life because we were doing enough for him that they, he felt part of the team. He felt part of, like a normal kid.
Yeah.
And that was the moment that I said we can change lives.
How did you feel in that exact moment physically?
Amazing, like super strong and really happy.
Notice the smile, notice the shoulders stacked. Are you getting this? All right, let's give her a hand. Thank you, ma'am. Awesome. You rock. Thank you for sharing that. How many of you, by a show of hands, have worked in a similar situation like that, where you've had children that have made those life-changing improvements in their life through your work? Yeah, your work is extremely important, and we all know that. This room is filled with rock stars. So here's the thing. The next question that I have for you is, I want you to think back in your life, who was it that changed your course of action? Who changed your path? Who was that mentor, or who was that coach that cared about you, that didn't have an agenda, somebody that sincerely wanted to see you go to that next level, and who helped you save time, who helped you level up quickly, and was there for you? That's the person that I want you to think about for a second. Share their name and just a quick, brief summary of how they helped you with the person next to you. Who was that person for you? Who was your mentor? Who was your coach? Who was that one person that helped you crush it? All right, a couple more seconds. If you haven't switched, go ahead and switch, please. All right, tell your partner that you are awesome. Now, I want to call my boy Dan up to the stage. Come on up here, Dan. Let's give him a big round of applause. Dan has an awesome story. Let's try to keep it a minute or less, Dan. And let's be very concise with it. But what's interesting about his story is that somebody in his life took a stand for him, put their foot down, and literally changed the entire course of his life, and now has given him the opportunity to change lives as well. Ladies and gentlemen, say, what's up, Dan?
What's up? Twice he did this. It was just my high school coach. Never wrestled before, and I joined the wrestling team, and I got the crap kicked out of me. I was getting beat up every day for like the first 2 weeks, and I was like, done. I'm out. And I quit. Like I jammed my finger, and I was like, oh, I'm done. And he ran into me in the lunchroom like 2 or 3 days later. He's like, hey, where you been? And I was like, oh, coach, my finger. I go to the doctor. I was like, I can't. He's like, all right. He grabbed my hand, like, for a finger. He's like, I'll see you at practice today. And I was like, I'm definitely afraid of the guy. I'm like, yes, sir. And went back to practice and placed in states. Got a scholarship to college, graduated college, became an All-American. I'm like, he changed everything in my life in that 30 seconds. Because he didn't let me quit. So. I love that.
You already said he owes that guy his life. How many of you can relate to a story where you've had that person come into your life and totally take it to the next level by something they've said, by how they've led by example? By show of hands, yes? Okay, now, here's the next question for you. Who have you done that for with your work? Whose lives have you changed? We all teach martial arts, we have schools, we all do this stuff that's fun, but I think that a lot of you don't realize the impact that you actually make, because you're not just impacting your students and your staff. You're impacting every single person that they interact with, all of their friends at school that are watching them and following their lead because you're creating leaders. Who are those kids that you have changed their life? If you have a story really quickly, a minute or under, I want you to think about it for a second, but at least one. Who's that person that you changed their life? Come on up to the stage. Let's give her a hand here. All right. And as she's sharing the story, I want you to start thinking, how have you made an impact as well? Because a lot of times you'll never know. They don't tell you. Have you guys ever had those kids that have come back like 15 years later, now they've graduated college, they're having kids of their own, and they're like, you've changed my life? Have you ever had that happen? I show your hands? Yeah? Okay. What's your name? What school are you with? What's up, Lucy? Everybody say Lucy's awesome.
Lucy's awesome.
Yeah, I'm Lucy. We own 2 martial arts schools in Dallas, Texas. But I had an amazing story. We were teaching a self-defense class for a group of girls, about 14 years old. It was a national charity league that's in our town. And it was a great self-defense clinic, very simple, nothing too complicated, elbows, knees, but be aware. That was the main part of it. Just be aware, don't be afraid to stand up for yourselves. About 2 weeks later, we got a phone call, and it was one of the moms of the girls. And she said, I have something to tell you. And my heart started beating because, she said who she is. And I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? Did we do something wrong? And she said, you saved my daughter's life. And I started getting goosebumps and, asking her what happened. And she said, look, she's been bullied for a long time, but it was 3 girls. They pulled her into the bathroom. 2 were beating her up. The other one was recording on a cell phone. And she held her strength and she beat her way out of there. And she said, not that you saved her life physically, but emotionally, you saved her at that moment. And that was just one of those amazing stories that, she shared with us. She actually came in the very next day, signed up for classes. She's been kicking and punching with us since.
Wow. And that's just one of probably thousands that we could come up with if we really spent time on that. So I want you to think about this. You guys want to change more lives, yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, I was just making sure I'm in front of the right audience here. So we want to change more lives. We want to grow our school. We've got all of these tools, all these marketing strategies, all these sales strategies, all of these consultants and people that can help us. So why the hell aren't we like at the 10th level by now? What's going on? Let's think about this for a second. Why are we at that next level? Why are we serving 10 times as many families? We want to change lives. It's important. I mean, that story that she just shared, that's going to be with that young girl for the rest of her life. So what is it that's happening? Why do we hesitate on the work that we know we need to get done? Why do we pretend that we're busy? Why do we pretend that we have problems? Why do we pretend that, they're successful because their location's in a better area? Why do we pretend? Why do we make up these stories about how, they're successful because their school's bigger than mine? That's all BS. That's all BS. I've met people with schools that are 1,000 or less square feet that are crushing it. I've met people with 10,000 square foot schools that are crushing it. Rural Kentucky, Maine, all the way to you guys up in Wisconsin with so much snow. Like, there's no excuses. When you focus on the work that needs to get done, you level up. So what is it? I'll tell you why. This is a hack. So we talk about like the caveman brain, right? Let's go back to caveman time. Like literally, we all live in a cave now. And I'm coming home to my cave and everything looks and sounds and smells perfect. Just like how I left it. So life is good. I walk in, everything's comfortable. But what if I walk in and all of a sudden I hear something rustle around? If I choose to ignore that, what could happen to me? I could die. It could literally be a predator, like a freaking lion or something, or a saber-toothed tiger that's going to come out. So we've been programmed since the beginning of time
to hesitate when our brain perceives that something is uncomfortable or scary or fearful or dangerous or basically any one of those suffering states, it causes us to hesitate. Can you guys say hesitate? Some of you hesitated on saying hesitate. That's interesting. Now here's the thing. It's okay to hesitate when there's actual danger. If you go out into the street and an actual lion comes up to you, you need to pump your brakes and then take off. Like, you need to make that split-second decision and go and then take off. You can hesitate if you get close to danger. But where our brain screws up is it causes us to do that in business. When we're about to level up, when we're about to make that next sales call, which I hate that term, we call it strategy conversations. When you haven't thought about it like this, you hesitate in life. That's what keeps you in the same stupid box, locked in all the time. You never level up. 5 years from now, we'll be at Cause Talks 2023, and I'll have more gray hair, and some of you will still be in the same stupid box. It's the truth. It's the absolute truth. Because it's scary to actually face the facts and get the real work done. To build that sales team. To fire the person that has been an anchor for your growth. Get them out. It's time to do the real work because we're here to change lives. So here's the hack. This is the dumbest thing I've ever been taught. It was so stupid when I first heard it. I still think it's stupid, but it absolutely works. It freaking works. I'm going to share it with you. How many of you can count backwards? By show of hands. Great job! Count backwards with me from 5. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Congratulations. Here's the thing. As soon as you start counting backwards during the moment of hesitation, you ignite your prefrontal cortex. You take all of the patterns and the loops that are running in the back of your head that form habits that cause you guys have all developed, including myself, the habit to be cautious, the habit to stay where we're at right now, because if you didn't, you'd be going to the next level, and then you'd be going to the next level again. That is the truth. But we've all developed the habit of staying where we're at. So anytime that you notice that you're hesitating on anything, count backwards. 5, 4, 3, and then take action. Yeah, it's that simple. Let me give you a couple examples. I shared this at the event this past weekend. So I had my shirt off, not like Randy Reed. Randy Reed's strip dance was way better than the one I would give you. But my wife looks at my back and she goes, "Hey, that's a weird looking mole that you have on your back that I've never noticed before." She's like, "You should go get that checked out." So what do you think that little voice on my head starts doing? "Oh my God, you're gonna die. Don't do it. Don't get it checked out. Like, just let's avoid danger. Let's pump the brakes because that saber-toothed tiger of a mole is gonna be nasty." And then all of a sudden, I literally, because I knew this trick, I literally went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and called the dermatologist and scheduled the damn appointment. Now, everything's good. They checked it. Everything's good, thankfully. I do this to get out of bed in the morning. I did it this morning. I wanted to get up at 5 a.m. I never get up at 5 a.m. It's usually like 8, but I wanted to get up early. I was feeling good. The alarm goes off at 5. And I'm like, oh, was my first reaction, snooze. Because I know I don't have to get up, but I want to. I should. But it's uncomfortable. So what's your brain do? It freezes. It pauses, right? So I go 5, 4, 3, and I'm out of bed. We call it the 5-second rule. And here's the thing. You can start using it right now. Like, anytime that you hear that little voice that starts telling you to, like, pump the brakes, or don't raise your hand when you should, or don't speak up for yourself in a meeting when you know you should, or they're going to think my idea is stupid, I'm not going to share it. 5, 4, 3, and do it. Watch, we're going to talk tomorrow, and I promise you, you guys are going to go, you know what, that stupid thing that you taught us actually freaking works. And here's how I used it. Maybe it's going up to shake someone's hand. You know, for those of you that have not had the opportunity to meet all of these awesome speakers and guests in here, get to know each other. Oh, but that's the guy from Hyper. I don't want to meet him. He's so cool. You are very cool, sir. I'm not being sarcastic. This is me actually doing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, so I can get to know you better. 5, 4. Like I want a selfie. I want a selfie with this dude, but like I'm scared kind of because he is cool and he goes to Bangladesh and does cool shit. So yeah, do you mind? So 5, 4, 3. Roland, do you mind if we get a selfie together? Sure. Awesome, dude. So I just did it, right?
Throat crush, bromance.
Yeah, thank you. So that's an example of how the 5-second rule plays out. So here's the thing. I'm going to keep it real fast because I know we're running a little late. I'm going to show you a lot of cool stuff, a lot of tools and tactics that are going to make you money. But if you hesitate and you don't actually do it, how's it going to help you? And I think that's where a lot of these martial art events and any seminar I've ever gone to tends to go. The speaker's like, look at me, I'm so smart, I've got all this stuff, I'm going to give you 3,000 tips on marketing. And then you go back home, you put your notes away, I'm going to get to it later. And then that little voice, because it's uncomfortable to change, goes, we'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow. Stop putting off your success till tomorrow. Do the 5-second rule. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do the damn thing. All right, here we go. Are you guys ready for some content, for some strategies, and some techniques? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. I hope you guys are taking notes because we're going to go fast. All right, so we're going to talk about changing lives with social proof marketing. This is something that we've been working on, and it is fire. In this presentation, you're going to learn the top 7 types of social proof marketing, the fastest ways to get people to take action, because it's a thing that you have to work with other people on. So you see how I kind of interwove that into my presentation so you guys can like work together and you can break the ice? You need to learn how to break ice. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Introduce yourself. All right, number 3, 7 ways to leverage written social proof and to get even more positive results from that social proof. Number 4, how to successfully ask for video testimonials. And number 5, how to film the perfect video testimonial. Okay, so here's the thing. Anytime that you can show yourself doing something awesome with your students, or if your staff is with your students, that is a great opportunity to talk about social proof. That is me with a bunch of kids. That's my wife, Lauren, who couldn't be here today. And if you look at their pictures, this one says, I love you, and this one says, I love you, Coach Lauren. These kids freaking love us. And look, I get it. Randy Reed's like, Duane, can you talk about the after-school program and the summer camp? Yes, I can. Let me tell you right now, that business model is fantastic. They pay you like 3 times as much money. They have a budget for it. It's a necessity. If they don't pay you, they're going to go to the YMCA or a daycare. They're going to pay you because we're going to show you how to make your programs look amazing. And here's the trick. If you don't want to do summer camp and after school, I don't care. This stuff works for martial arts at night. This works for any business. Here we go. All right, type number 1. Pictures and videos of your martial arts classes, summer camps, school year camps, and after-school programs and parents' night outs. If you look at this picture on the left, this guy, Chris Smith, he's been with us for a year. He went from 0 after-school kids to about 60, changed his entire life, added over $200,000 of revenue to his business in the first year, and he's crushing it. And look at those happy kids. You cannot deny that they're happy. This, Jessica Kimmel, they're up in New York. Her and her husband, Michael, they went from $200,000 to $500,000. They have a line of kids in their first big summer camp. They always said, we did summer camp prior to joining you guys, but now it's big, right? They are awesome. So you want to highlight this stuff, because when a parent wants to sign up their child, it's not like martial arts. See, here's the thing with martial arts. They have to want martial arts, and then they have to have a convenient schedule for martial arts, and then they do it. This is a parent actually leaving their kid with you all day long for summer camp. So there's a higher level of trust that you have to earn, whether they, as a parent, believe it or not. They don't even realize. Like, if your marketing is off or if your website looks funny, they're not even going to contact you because there's a disconnect. Disconnect equals lack of trust. Write down this number. We're going to do a little equation. Write down $6,000 and then do an equal sign and then put the word awesome. You like my equation? That's the average value that we're seeing in a student that's in the system, $6,000. Why? Because they signed up for summer camp. They had a great time in summer camp. They still need after-school care, so guess what they do? They stay for after school. And then what do they do next summer? They sign up for summer camp. You want to know why? Because the kid's earning rank. He or she is making friends. You're changing their lives. They don't do this stuff with the YMCA people. They do it in a martial arts environment. You guys know how to do this. That's why you have the advantage. You want to show it. Number 2, Facebook reviews. Here we go. Sean Fargent and Jim Valeri. I have enrolled my son in summer camp for the 2017 summer after our great experience with their A+ after-school program. You guys know who that is, right? Audra? Yeah. Awesome. He really enjoys interacting with both the staff and students. Their communication is great. Excellent. And I'm excited to have him continue with the summer camp program at Karate America in a place he feels welcome. Everybody say welcome. Comfortable and excited. And what does that equal? Trust and money. It does, it does. Somebody said money. So this type of review right here is golden. This will literally make you more money, and we're going to show you how to do that in just a second. All right, number 3, of course, Google reviews. It's important to educate all of your parents that Google reviews are something they should be doing, that everybody else is doing, and you should ask for them. Guess what happens when you're scared to ask for them? What should you do? 5, 4, 3. Hey there, Mr. Rankin. I know that your son and daughter love our program. Would you mind going to Google and leaving us a review, and then maybe copying and pasting that and giving us another 5-star review on Facebook? Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, it would be okay. Why? Because he wants to help us help more kids. That is the culture about changing lives. Can you guys say changing lives? That's what we're doing. So 112 Google reviews, 5 stars, they're crushing it. They've been with us for about 2 years. Now, I asked Kevin and Marie, who own this school, I said, does your 5-star review with 112 things here have anything to do with the ABC Fine Wine and Spirits that's across from your school? They're not sure. I think it does. All right, so here we go. Your lobby. Okay, how are we going to incorporate social proof marketing in your lobby? Let me show you. Look at this TV right here. This TV is showing social proof of happy children, showing social proof of screenshots of your testimonials. I mean, you guys could do this in your martial arts school. You don't have to have after school to do this, right? That's why I wanted to give this presentation, because this is stuff anybody in this room can use. And look, if you want to talk after school in summer camp, I'm here till Monday. Let's freaking talk. Let's do it. Take a look. That's Lauren. And here's one thing that Lauren discovered that is so legit, and you guys can do this right now. Look at the bottom. Connecting parents with each other in person. How is that social proof? All right, Sean, can you come up to the stage really quickly? And Jeff D2, come up here real quick, buddy. All right. So let's give it up for Sean and Jeff, ladies and gentlemen. Sean and Jeff. So here's the thing. They come in. Sean's the new dad. He's checking out our program. And all of a sudden, Jeff's here. I know Jeff's a legit guy. He's been with the program for a few years. His son or daughter loves it. Everything's awesome. Instead of me trying to say, hey man, here's all the reasons why you should sign up in this school, it's as simple as this. Hey, what's up? This is Jeff. Jeff, this is Sean. He's interested in checking out our program for his kids. Man, so what are your thoughts about here? You've been here for a long time, dude.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. You really need to do this. I'll tell you what, it's the place to be.
It's that freaking simple. All day long. Schedule your tours strategically so this starts to happen. Is it okay to give group tours, especially when you start really getting the summer camp leads? Is it okay to give more than one family at the same time a tour? Absolutely it is. Why? Everybody please say social proof. Because if they're there, and he's there, and you guys are all taking tours of our campus, that word is intentional, of our campus, then all of a sudden, everybody's like, dang, this is the place to be. This is the place. And if there's 10 people taking a tour, if you really want to be effective, you tell them you only have 8 spots. No, just kidding. Don't lie. Okay, so let's give them a hand. That's how it works. Connect them in your lobby. And I know that you guys have had many, many opportunities where you've had parents inquire about your programs and you've had other parents that have already been there. Okay, number 5, school and community events. So Dan that came up here and shared his story about his high school coach and his college coach, he just posted this video just like literally 20 hours ago because I made this presentation this morning. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to get up at 5 o'clock. And he posts this. Dan, who's that lady right there?
Principal of my closest school.
The principal of his school giving a testimonial, thanking Dan for donating $550 and saying how great his program is for the other kids. Dan, look, when we first met, I know that you were a little bit scared of asking principals for testimonial videos. How do you feel now? And even if he is still scared, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ask the freaking question. Just do it. Your brain is programmed because your brain thinks by going outside of the box and outside of your comfort zone to go, hey, Principal so-and-so, can I have a testimonial? That scares the crap out of you, so you hesitate. And at the moment that you hesitate, that little voice comes. Don't do it. She's not going to want to give you a testimonial. She's going to say something that's not good. She's going to be mad at you. We call it LVS. That's a term, I've been using this for about 10 years. LVS, little voice syndrome. LVS starts freaking going. Okay? Dan. Come here real quick. I didn't mean to snap at you like a kid. I just know that we're running out of time. This is so important. what was going through your head as you were about to ask? Even though we already talked about it, even though you know the 5-second rule, you did this the day after you learned 5 seconds.
Exactly word for word what you said. Like I was actually just sitting back and she was in a conversation. And I was just like,
But what if I interrupt her?
It's like, and then she starts walking, and I'm like, and I'm like, hey, can I just get a testimony real quick? She's like, yeah, sure, I'd love to. And I was like, so easy.
Let's give him a hand for that. 5-second rule again, right here. And then look what he writes. We love supporting our local schools, hashtag changing lives. That's one of the hashtags we like to use on our campus, the Mass Campus, changing lives, because that's what we do. We do it on a big scale. So Dan, thanks for serving your community. It's only going to get bigger and better from here. Okay, number 6, get media stories. We've gotten on media a ton. And there's a lot of strategies that we can discuss later on when we're at Coconuts or whatever. We'll chat about that. But getting media stories is legit. I have a video. I don't know if there's sound. I don't know, maybe not. Anyways, News Channel 8 did a video on us because we were acknowledged by the White House with the success of our systems. And News Channel 8's like, whoa, they were just acknowledged by the White House for this after-school program. And this is also talking about how we're scaling it and bringing it across the country to find people like you. Okay? Next, show off your accomplishments as a leader. Now, some of you old school people have a lot of resistance towards this because you have been framed and programmed that this is not being humble or that this is not just not a good thing to do. I firmly disagree. Here's why. There are people who are watching you and secretly wanting to be just like you. You inspire them. So when you do something cool and it inspires them to do something cool, it's okay, right? Because if you're a good person, then they're going to be a good person. So anytime that you have the opportunity as a leader to showcase your accomplishments, to showcase your speaking engagements, when you do a school talk, if we can get that back on, thank you, sir. If you can do anything to give you social credibility without bragging, right? We're not sitting here bragging, hey, look at me. Let your accomplishments brag for you because you are inspiring people that are watching you. So when you're in MA Success Magazine, show it off. When you speak at the White House, show it off. When President Obama gives you a letter, you show it off. When your team gets acknowledged for something awesome they do, you show it off even more. Promote them. That's my wife on the right. That's Julie on the left, who we just hired for Mass. And let me tell you what, they donated like $5,000 or $6,000 to the VA hospital from a settlement from the Buccaneers because they both were cheerleaders for the Bucs before NFL paid the cheerleaders. So it was like back pay that they weren't expecting. So they're like, you know what? Let's donate it to the VA. Let's give it to the soldiers that need some help with adaptive sports equipment. And that's a privately funded entity of the VA. So they wanted to support that. They did a news story about it. Let's have the news story at our school. So that's what it was. So getting on the media is huge. Now, what's the fastest way to get people to take action? You simply ask them. You can do an email blast. You can talk about this on social media. You can ask them in person. How many of you have taught an awesome class, you know you rocked the house, and then at least one or more parents walk up to you and they're like, oh my God, that class was so good. Or this happens a lot at adult testing. How many of you have had that experience where they just cornered you to tell you how awesome you are? Okay, keep that thought in mind because that's your opportunity in person to go, hey, you know what? You want to be really, really cool? Could you say that again on film? They always say yes. They always say yes. They want to help you spread the word about how great your programs are. Okay, we'll talk about that more in just a second. All right, part 3. Let's go really quickly through the 7 ways that you can leverage your written social proof. So this is when you get an awesome 5-star review. This is from one of our fourth-year members, and they're crushing it. So how do we leverage that? Here we go. Post a picture on your Facebook business page. We all do that naturally. But the problem with Facebook business pages is the algorithm changed. You guys are aware of that. They don't just organically show your stuff anymore because they want your what? They want your money. Okay, no problem. We can post this in our Facebook parents group. If you don't have a group for your parents and the kids and their friends, so you want to title it something like Friends and Family of XYZ Martial Arts School, or Friends and Families of XYZ's Best blah 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 After School and Summer Camp program. You post it in that group. They are more likely to see it, and you can teach them how to follow your page so that all of the posts get shown first. Every single post that you make will pop up in the feed. Post on your personal Facebook page, and then you want to tag everybody involved. So, should you become Facebook friends with all of your members? I think so, because you can tag them in everything. And here's the truth. If you're embarrassed about showing your personal Facebook page to your members, what are you hiding? I'll let you answer that later after we drink. Yeah. Blue margarita, and then we can talk about it. Okay, post it on Instagram, post it on Twitter, create a video slideshow. So this one's really cool. Take a bunch of those screenshots of all of your 5-star reviews, put some background music, and just let each one glide by. 3 seconds, 2, 1, next one, 1, 2, 3, next one, 1. Okay, you guys get the point. Create that, put that on your slideshow in your lobby. Use that as a, everybody should have a YouTube channel. Toss that up on YouTube, toss that up on your Facebook. Create an ad, create a video ad. There's so many things that you can be creative with on this type of thinking. Okay, last one. Print some of them. People are old school. If they're sitting in your lobby chilling, even if they're already a member, and you've got a couple of those like old school picture books, just start flipping open. They can be full page, 2 or 3 testimonials just kind of printed on each page. What that does is solidifies their buying decision. They signed up for you, remind them why you're the best. You want to know something? You want to know what I've learned? People forget where they came from. They forget the progress that their kid had in your program. They forgot that little Johnny was like this when he first walked in, and he's hiding behind mom's leg. This is what it looks like to hide behind a leg. And then all of a sudden, he goes and he's teaching class, and he's tough, and he's confident. But then little Johnny wants to play soccer, so let's go ahead and unenroll him. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, soccer's cool, but not like this. You have to be able to remind them why they joined. Remind them of that success journey that they've had. All right, here we go. How do you ask for the video testimonial? Anytime that a parent talks about how great you are, just like I showed you when I pulled out my phone, it's the perfect time. Always film horizontally. I'm going to punch people if I see them filming like this. Film it horizontally, please. It formats better on social media. It formats better on websites. Right, ready to read, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, step 2, have your camera ready. Tell them to start talking when you point at them. This is what people do. They press the button, like I just did. They wait a second, it's so awkward, and then they go, okay, go ahead and talk.
Hi.
And then they end it, and then they post that whole thing. They literally post the part where they go, okay, ready, talk. They post that part. Either learn basic editing or just go like this. All right, Sarah, thank you so much for saying that our program is awesome, that you love it. When I point at you, go ahead and start talking. I hit the button first, and then I go. Okay. The point is, you don't talk. Let them talk. All right, step 3. Many parents do a fantastic job on that first video, but if they screw it all up, just go, hey, you know what? Let's scrap that one. Let's try it again. And do it again. But there's some things that you need to be careful of, because you want to make sure that the person is close to you. I would not film a testimonial this far away. It is literally going to be like this. They don't need to see, you don't need to show their stomach, you don't even need to show their chest, just show here up, right? Because what are we looking at? If I'm looking at Sean, I'm not staring at your chest, Sean. I'm staring at your face. So you want to have that footage. You want to have that footage look like you're actually looking at somebody, okay? Now, number 2, make sure they speak loudly. So if they're too low, be like, hey, try that again. Let's speak up just a little bit. Pay attention to the background. If I'm filming a testimonial of Sean, I don't want there to be a trash can behind him. I don't, or bunny ears, because that happens. There's kids that'll run by, and they're fighting and kicking in the back, and they're doing all this stuff, and the mom is like, the kids here are so disciplined, and they're fantastic. Your child will be disciplined as well, and you should sign up. And they're throwing each other on the mats. I've seen it. Keep it short and simple. 30 seconds or less is usually pretty good. If they want to go longer, cool, let them. Lighting is vital. You don't want a shadow effect, so be cognizant of your lighting. And that is it. Now, here's the thing. We learn by demonstrating. So I'm just going to call one person up. It'll take 30 seconds, and then I'm done. Who wants to give a testimonial? It can be a mock one, but let's demonstrate it. Who wants to come up?
Rolling.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Sarah Burkle does.
1. Who's coming up? Now it's just getting weird. Do I have to pick on somebody? Damn. Everybody's LVS was like, this is so weird. This is so weird. Okay. So, stand right there. For those of you that are in the front, I don't know if you can see you see how close I am right there? You guys see that screen? Right? Okay. All right, so Dan just told me that the class was awesome. And Dan, thanks so much for saying that. Listen, I want to be able to spread the word to other people, other parents just like you. So can you say that again on film real quick?
Sure.
It'll just take a second. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and point at you, and as soon as I start pointing, just repeat what you just said. Ready?
Doing something different. I attended MassCon and
Oh, shit. I'm
I
not
think-
sure. Hold on. I'll repeat it. I mean, if this is a real one, social proof with the audience in that. Okay, here we go. Ready?
Hey guys, it's Dan from Old Heart Academy, up in New Jersey. Just want to give a shout out to Duane Spires. His MassCon event last weekend really had a major impact, and what he's doing is changing lives, and he's helping me change my life. Boom.
That was like teaching how to do social proof with social proof in the background while he gave you social proof. Okay, so how many of you have found that helpful? And you can use that 5-second rule to start breaking the ice, start taking chances, start asking for the testimonials to get you the social proof to crush it. Yes?
Yes.
Rock on. Thank you for hearing what I had to say. And